Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanang Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswating Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th Canto, Chapter 3, Text 18. This chapter is entitled as Rishabdev's Appearance. So it's in a prose form, so I'll just read through. Tato āgnīdhrīye ṁśa-kalayāvatariṣyāmy ātma-tulyam anupalabhamānaḥ. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Since I cannot find anyone equal to me, I shall personally expand myself into a plenary portion and thus advent myself in the womb of Merudevī, the wife of Mahārāja Nābhi, the son of Āgnīdhra. Please repeat after me. Since I cannot find anyone equal to me, I shall personally expand myself into a plenary portion and thus advent myself in the womb of Merudevī, the wife of Mahārāja Nābhi, the son of Āgnīdhra. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is an example of the omnipotency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although He is one without a second, He expands Himself by swamsa, His personal expansion, and sometimes by bibhinnāṁśa, or His separated expansion. Lord Vishnu herein agrees to send His personal expansion as the son of Merudevī, the wife of Mahārāja Nābhi, who is the son of Āgnīdhra. The Ritvijas, the priests, knew that God is one, yet they prayed for the Supreme Lord to become the son of Mahārāja Nābhi, to let the world know that the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is one without a second. When He incarnates, He expands Himself in different potencies. So, we can see that in the Vedic culture, there is the lines are, the family line is explained, like who came after whom, especially the kings. That is the history. In history, we get a chronological description of different kings. And in the Vedic culture, we can see like how one family line started from Dev, king of the sun planet, the ruler of the sun planet, Vivaswan. And another family came from the moon god, Chandradev. So this is how these are two Kshatriya dynasties, Surya Vamsa and Chandra Vamsa. So here we are getting to see that how there was this king Āgnīdhra, and Āgnīdhra's son was Nābhi. Also in Vedic culture, another thing is that the elder son used to inherit the father's property. If there was a king, then his eldest son would become the king, not like nowadays. Like the family is the family wealth or family inheritance is divided among the brothers. And as a result of that, what happens with the passing of time? It becomes more and more diluted, fragmented. So we can see how Vedic culture was the perfect way that it always remained. The children, instead of dividing the family wealth, they used to try to increase the family wealth. The eldest brother used to inherit. So the eldest son of a king would become the king. And other brothers would assist him. So this is how the family was held together. But now what is happening? One father has 5 sons. So the family wealth, say if they have 50 acres of land, then 5 sons will get, say, 10 acres each. And if they have daughters, then it is further division. So each son then got 5 acres. Then those 5 brothers have another 5 sons. So they, in 2 generations, they end up with just 2 acres wealth. On the other hand, if they are held together, if the eldest son got the 50 acres, then all the brothers, the eldest son would have got the 50 acres, and other brothers would just support him. And elder brother, like the father, would take care of the younger brothers. It's not that they would exploit the younger brother. So this way we can see that from every point of view, the Vedic culture was so practical and so scientific. The Western culture actually introduced all this nonsense. Equal rights, democracy, as destroying the human civilization. Democracy, everyone has equal right. There is no consideration of ability and talent and expertise and wisdom. Everyone is equal. Like everyone is equal means a person who is very learned and a factory worker, they all are both are equal. But are they equal? Can they be equal? No. Then why in your company structure you have executives and workers? Then why not everybody equal? In communism they tried to do that, but they saw that it doesn't work. And now those countries have become, Russia and China has become the most capitalistic country. Now that the thing opened up, they excelled even America. America speaks about capitalism, but follows democracy. But in those countries, there is no consideration of even speaking about democracy. And in the Vedic culture, another thing is that this way they held the families together, the society together, the nation together. Everyone was held together because of proper leadership. What is the qualification of a proper leader? The proper leader, an appropriate leader, he takes care of his followers. Whereas an unqualified leader, he exploits. He gets a position and he exploits everybody. And that's what is happening because there is exploitation, because they are not leaders. They are not qualified. That's why the whole society is become misdirected. Anyway, so the point here is that in the Vedic culture we see that how the descriptions of different families, different royal families have been given. It is, many of these families are actually, as I mentioned, all the Kshatriya families are actually coming from Surya Dev or Chandra Dev. Like we see not only in India, even in other countries, like in Japan, they claim that they are coming from sun god. The name of the country is actually Nippon. Nippon means the country of sun, the land of sun. And they have their rulers, and we can see they are so noble. They would, if there is some infamy coming onto somebody, there is a process of harikiri. They would kill himself, cut the stomach and kill himself. They were such noble personalities. The Kshatriyas are very noble people. And we see some semblance of that in those royal families around the world. Anyway, so here we see how another noble characteristic of the kings of those days. The son became householder. Then he would want to have children, but in order to have children, they would undergo austerities. Like previously we read about the Prachetas. The Prachetas, when the father asked, okay, now you get married and have children, they didn't get married straight away. They wanted to prepare themselves. So they started to move towards the west. And then they came across Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva trained them in Krishna consciousness. And then they performed austerities, and then eventually they got married and produced children. So here also we can see Nābhi. Previously their father Āgnīdhra's characteristic has been described, but Āgnīdhra's son Nābhi became the king. And Nābhi in order to have an appropriate child, performed sacrifice and performed austerities. And after the sacrifice, the priests, they desired to have a son like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Supreme Personality of Godhead came, manifested himself. And that is another thing about the sacrifice. When the sacrifice is properly performed, then the Lord appears. Now, what is the sacrifice in this age? Sankirtan Japya, chanting of the holy name. So when one chants the holy name properly, the Lord will appear. When one chants pure chanting of the name without offenses, the Lord will appear. And He will, like here, the Lord is asking, so what do you want? When they offered their prayers, desiring to have a son for the king, as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or endowed with the qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the response of the Lord, who appeared in His Vishnu form. He said, since I cannot find anyone equal to me. Who can be equal to the Lord? Since I can't find anyone equal to me, I shall personally expand myself into a plenary portion. I'll expand myself into a plenary portion. And thus event myself in the of Merudevī, the wife of Mahārāja Nābhi, the son of King Āgnīdhra. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is an example of the omnipotency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada is pointing out, only the Lord can do things like that. Can we say, okay, I'll expand myself and appear as your son? Can he even say that I'll appear as your son? No. That's the difference between living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Living entities are in ignorance, whereas the Supreme Personality is not. And that is how he is establishing himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Bhagavad Gita. When he told Arjuna that I gave this knowledge to Vivaswan, the sun god, Vivaswan. Vivaswan gave it to his son Manu, Manu gave it to his son Ikshaku. So this is the line, Surya Vamsa, Ikshaku Vamsa. Like from Manu to Ikshaku. And then Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Rajarshaya Vidu. Then Arjuna's natural question was, Aparang Bhavato Janma Parang Janma Vivashataha. You were born just the other day. And Vivaswan was born so many billions of years ago. So how can I understand that you spoke this knowledge to Vivaswan? So what was Krishna's response to that? Krishna's response to that was, Arjuna, both you and I have taken birth many, many times in the past. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacharjuna. Many, many times both you and I have taken birth, Arjuna. But tani ahang veda sarvani. About all those births, I don't remember. I remember everything. Whereas you don't. So here's the difference between a living entity and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead remembers everything. Whereas a living entity, Jiva, he forgets. When he dies, he forgets everything after death. And then he begins a new life, a new chapter in another body. And there he gathers his memory. Then he dies and then he forgets everything about that body. Starts a new life, starts from zero. At the time of birth, no memory, no recollections, practically. But then he begins to learn, oh, this is my mother, this is my father, this is my brother. Then he grows up a little bit, this is A, this is B, this is C. So this is how he begins his set of memory. He is born in India, he learns Hindi or Bengali. Then next birth he is born in France, he learns French. The next life he is born as a dog, then he learns dog's language. So this is how in each body he develops a set of memory. And that memory is lost. Tani ahang veda sarvani nattang vedha parantapa. Arjuna, you don't remember about your past lives, but I remember everything. So that is the difference between a jiva and Bhagavan. Then Krishna pointed out that I am unborn. I don't need to take birth like you. I don't need to take birth. I have always been, and I will always be, just the way I am. And I expand. And in these expansions also, whatever I do, I remember everything. So that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this knowledge is very important. Like, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Why he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And Bhagavatam is teaching us that. Nowhere we get such detailed information about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like, there are other scriptures other than Vedic scriptures. There is some descriptions of God and things, but they are very, very limited. Very limited. In Bible, there is this Old Testament. In Old Testament, there is only description of God is God came and gave 10 commandments to Moses. That's about the only thing about God. No other information. And in Quran, there is no information of God at all. Just He is the great. He is the greatest. He is the greatest, but how he is the greatest, no description. Don't think about him. You are not qualified to even think about him. It's understandable. They were just a bunch of desert people. They didn't have the intellectual ability to understand who God is. So Muhammad said, don't think about him. And Quran is mostly activities of Muhammad. Bible, activities of Jesus and different apostles. And Old Testament gives descriptions of Moses getting the 10 commandments and then directing the Jews out of Egypt and taking them to the land of milk and honey, not the land of beef and steaks or fish and chips. It's the land of milk and honey. That is the promised land. So doesn't it say that they're meant to be vegetarians? Milk and honey. What can be better than that? The best food.
Apostrophe.
So, anyway, that's why we are so fortunate. That is the good fortune that Srila Prabhupada created for us. Even though many of us, or most of us, although we were in India, we didn't have any knowledge about the Vedas. We didn't even bother about the Vedas. Our Lord and Masters, the English people, they taught us very nicely that Indian culture is uncivilized culture, barbarian culture. So whatever is there is nothing, no important. West is the best. And Englishmen are your master. So if there is any Lord and Master, that's the Englishman. That is how they taught us. And we said, yes, Prabhu. But Srila Prabhupada came and gave the real culture, real knowledge, and made us proud of our wisdom, made us proud of our culture, made us proud of our heritage. And he himself showed that how this knowledge of India, the wisdom of the Vedas, will be appreciated all over the world. Just one man has done that. Went around the world and distributed Krishna consciousness, and intelligent class of people accepted it. Yes, this is the real wisdom. And a revolution is created. It's happening. Everywhere people are becoming enriched with this knowledge. And Prabhupada very clearly said, this knowledge is for everyone. The knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is not only for Indians or Hindus, it's for everyone. Like when Krishna says something, it's for everybody. Krishna is not saying, this now I'm telling this for the Indians or this for the Brahmanas or Hindus or so forth. No, for everyone. Dehinashmin jatha dehe komaram jovanam jara. Just as the body grows from childhood to youth to old age. Now only the Hindus' body grow from childhood to youth to old age. Only the human bodies grow from childhood to old age to youth, or youth to old age. Every living entity's body goes through that. Even an animal, even an insect, even a tree. We see that young plants, then youth, so many flowers came. Then fruits. This is how the trees are actually displaying their youthful vitality. In youth, reproduction takes place. And in childhood, a plant, small little plant, there is no flower, but when it reaches its youth, the flower comes. Then the flower transforms into fruits. The fruits are the babies of the trees, offsprings. Comes in a different way. And the flowers are the sex life of the trees. Blooms into a flower, the pollination takes place. And the bees come and makes the pollen. They can't directly have sex, so they have their sex through the via medium of the bees. And then comes the fruit, the offsprings. So this is how scientific the Vedic wisdom is, and it appeals. It naturally appeals to an intelligent class of people. Like, see, the Vedas are giving the information. Life, 6 symptoms of life. Wherever there is life, there are 6 symptoms. Birth, growth, change, reproduction, decay, death. Now, does it happen only to the human beings? No. Look at a tree. As born, the seed fall on the ground, new tree is born. Small little tiny little seedling. But then it grows. Then it changes. It changes. In seasons, it changes. In autumn, the leaves fall. In winter, it's standing completely bare as if dead. Then spring, the new leaves come. Then summer, the flowers blossom. And then they go into fruits, change, then reproduction. One apple tree produces so many apples, and inside those apples there are so many seeds. These are the babies of the apple. Apple tree. So this is how we can see that wherever there is life, the 6 symptoms has to be there. Birth, growth, change, reproduction, decay, death. Whereas in the West we can see, they don't even know that the animals have consciousness. The animals are living entities. Recently, there's a big thing going on. Some scientist is claiming that animals are conscious. Are you so stupid that don't you see that the animals are conscious? It has to have a scientific research, and scientifically they have to prove the animals are conscious. Beat a dog and it'll cry. And pat a dog, it'll lick your feet. Isn't that a clear sign of consciousness? Actually, today, unfortunately, the whole world is being dominated by a bunch of fools and crooks. So-called wise people are actually a bunch of fools. And so-called leaders of the society are crooks. That is why there is a need for proper culture to be established. And that proper culture is Krishna consciousness, the wisdom of the Vedas. That's why Mahaprabhu urged to the Indians, appealed to the Indians. Bharat bhumite hoilo manushya janma jar, janma sarthak kori karo paro upakar. So those who are born in India, at least take up this mission and spread it, distribute it all over the world. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Any question?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, my question is in 2 parts. First one is, was it Satyuga when Rishabdev appeared? Was it Satyuga when Rishabdev appeared?
Yes, I think so.
So I had a doubt. If Satyuga, the Yug Dharma is austerity, so why are they performing fire sacrifice?
That yajna is always going on. Yajna can always go on. Even in Satyuga, the sages are performing yajna. That is a Yuga Dharma for the general people. That is the general way of achieving perfection is that process. Like for example, in Kali Yuga, we are also worshipping deity. Does it mean that we have to be in Treta, Dwapar Yuga? Like that. The sacrifices are always performed. They are always there. But the general way of achieving spiritual perfection is
How do some people they recollect their memory in next life?
Yeah, good, yeah. Because some people have that, like when they lead a pure life, or they are endowed with this ability. Some people can remember, they are called, or not only people, we can see that Bharat Maharaj, in his next life, although he was born as a deer, but still he could remember his past life. So that is possible in some rare cases.
One question, like some people say that like Arjuna, they came from Western culture, like those are Arjun civilization. They came from Western culture, like from Europe. So
Who told that?
it's written in somewhere.
Who wrote those books?
Like they gave.
Your English Prabhus wrote them. That's why.
They give example. Nowadays, most of the intellectual people, they are from Europe.
And those intellectual people are English people's chamchas. That's why they're promoting their boss's words. Our information is not what they wrote. Our informations are the Vedas. Does the Veda ever say that the Aryans came from the deserts of Saudi Arabia? No. The civilization started with Brahma. Brahma's sons. And Aryans means, Arya means superior or civilized. Actually, Arya means superior. They would call a senior as Arya. Okay. So, okay.
I just have a little doubt about the answer. So, for general mass of people, it's yagya, but actually the way of getting spiritual realization is austerity in the Satyuga. Right?
General Yuga Dharma is not just austerity, meditation. Meditation by, which is actually the process of Ashtanga Yoga. But at the same time, the Brahmanas are meant to perform austerities. Perform sacrifices. Is the Brahmanas' occupation is to perform sacrifices. So, in order to see here, the difference is the king is not aspiring for his spiritual perfection. If he wanted to aspire for his spiritual perfection, he would have gone to the forest and performed meditation. But here, he is invoking the mercy of the Lord. And that is being done through sacrifice. That he wants a son. So the priests are there. Brahmins have to do something. Right? So they have to, they are performing sacrifices. Otherwise, they'll be unemployed if they can't perform sacrifice. Okay. Yes, Archana?
In this Kali, the Lord manifests himself in his āgnīdhrīye. So, what is
In which yug?
Kali?
No, in Dwapar Yug he manifests himself, Acha-vigraha.
But like Prabhupada will see, we can, like, we got
Yeah.
the opportunity to see the Lord through his form.
Yeah.
So, what is the impediment? What is the obstacle that we don't see the Lord? Like,
Prem.
what's lacking like that?
Premanjana churita bhakti vilochane. If we see with our material eyes, we will see the metal or stone or wood. But if we see with love, then we'll see the Lord. That is the thing. The eyes have to be anointed with the mascara of love. Okay, thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari.